So Scrum 5 is live at the Cardiff City Stadium as the Blues take on Scarlets at 8. Right now, though, Sport Wales with Jason Mohammed.
Welcome to the programme. 19 Commonwealth Games medals for Team Wales. 3 of them are in the studio tonight. I'll be chatting to Becky James and Sean McGoldrick. And here's what else is on tonight's programme. Jay Bird, could he do a job for England? His manager thinks so. We catch up with Cardiff City striker Jay Bothroyd as he continues his flying start to the championship season. League of Nations. Can Wales get back to the top table of International Rugby League? The Aussies, Kiwis and England lie in wait. And we're in Glasgow with Joe Ledley, ahead of one of the biggest derbies in Great Britain.
It's going to be, probably the best game and atmosphere I'm going to play in.
Also joining me tonight, former Fulham manager Chris Coleman on why he wants to be the next boss of Wales and where Welsh football has gone wrong. And we'll be hearing from Warren Gatland in just a moment about his new extended contract. Well, as you can see, we've got medals here in the studio, Commonwealth Games medals. So, Becky James, Sean McGoldrick, great to see you. And Becky, for you, it was amazing because you were one of the early medals as well. You and girls got the team rolling, really. Have you watched it back?
Oh yeah, I have. That second race, I couldn't believe how close I got in the final, especially when I was racing Anna Meares. She's double world champion. I just went there with no fear, just get up and enjoy it, and I really enjoyed it, and I couldn't believe how close I got to it.
So what about you, Sean? When you went into that final, what were you expecting?
To be honest, I wasn't expected to get to the final, so getting to the final was such a big achievement for me. I didn't win, but that's just the way it goes, but I was going there to win.
Did you think you'd done enough?
At the time I wasn't really sure, but watching back now, I think there was 1 or 2 points which could have went my way, yeah.
So I suppose many people were wondering, well, what happens next then? Becky, what about you? Because you've just done your A-levels.
Yeah, I'm just taking everything by stepping stones. I've just started training full-time, so I'm just going to keep training hard and get some good racing in and hopefully get to 2012. And
how do you feel about newspaper columnists, for example, writing about you as one of the future superstars of British sport?
It's unreal. I have to keep pinching myself and telling myself it's actually happening to me. So hopefully there'll be a lot more of that if we keep training hard.
Sean, what next for you as far as boxing is concerned?
I got the Great British Championships in Liverpool happening in November, so I'll go for them. Hopefully if I do well in them then, I should sort of secure my place in the podium side, and then hopefully go to the World Championships next year for the qualifiers for the Olympic Games.
Yeah, Olympics very much on the horizon, Becky?
Yeah, definitely. I'd really like to go, and I'm just going to keep training hard and take everything as stepping stones and hopefully make it there.
Well, many congratulations, and thank you very much indeed for bringing in your medals, and we wish you the very best. Sean and Becky, much appreciated. Thank you. Well, now to rugby, and should Warren Gatland see out his extended contract to 2015, he will become the longest-serving coach in Welsh rugby history. Graham Thomas now on why the Welsh Rugby Union has nailed its colours to the Gatland mast.
This time last week, 2 clocks were ticking down to October of next year. One was to the next World Cup, the other to the end of Warren Gatland's contract. One of them has been reset, and the coach's deal now runs to 2015.
I've loved being here the last 3 years and the role that I've had, and ideally you'd like to see it through to 2015, but it's not tied away from the fact that that period you've got to be successful, you've got to be seen to be going forward, and if you're not, then someone's going to pull the rug from under your feet, and it's professional sport, and we're all aware of that.
When contracts are running down, governing bodies grow edgy, and anxiety seeps into every corner. Just before the 2007 World Cup, Eddie O'Sullivan's contract was almost up, and Ireland gave him 4 more years. Before this summer's Football World Cup, Fabio Capello hinted he could move on after the tournament.
I got a contract. I refuse a lot of opportunity.
The English FA hurriedly signed him for 2 further years before a disastrous showing in South Africa. Gatland's employers have acted far more quickly, a year out from the World Cup. But there are escape routes should things go belly up.
I've structured our contract in a pretty smart way that I think the people of Wales will be happy with, and I've addressed those issues, so there'll be no embarrassments in either way, particularly any financial embarrassments. I've addressed those issues, and I've been on the block on that one. As I say, when you've dealt with some high-profile global musicians who are doing deals that are in the tens of millions, and the on costs are also in the tens of millions, you address those, and I think we come up with a deal that is pretty smart.
That's code for saying if the union needed to dump their coach, they could afford to do so. He hasn't come cheaply, and despite the bluff, he's shrewd enough to know his value.
I mean, I just think, I'm just a dumb Kiwi, so, I think I know what my value is, and if we're not too far away from that, we can shake hands, and it's I don't understand all the legal work. I mean, the problem with you get contracts these days, I think it's about 100 pages long. For me, it's just, shake my hand and just do a deal, and if we agree on the numbers and whatever, we can. Yeah, and if you're not happy with the job I'm doing, just come and tell me, and I'll be gone as well.
So the World Cup clock ticks on, and Gatland's strategy moves apace. Next summer, he plans 3 squad training camps. The first in Cardiff, the second in Poland, where they'll make use of deep freeze chambers, the local specialism of cryogenics. The third back in Wales, in readiness for pre-tournament warm-up matches.
This is the countdown. This is a chance for players to put their hand up if they want to be a part of the World Cup squads. This campaign is a Six Nations, so there shouldn't be any lack of motivation from the players to take and make the most of their opportunity. And for us, it's about building on some confidence as well, and to be able to build on this autumn, the Six Nations, so that when we do get ready for those warm-up games and ultimately go down to the World Cup to play South Africa in that first game, that we're ready and raring to go.
Gatland's current squad features no English-based players, a recognition that cooperation, like charity, begins at home.
I've tried to be as flexible as I can in the past in terms of releasing players, and particularly in the last year's Six Nations, releasing a lot of players back to the regions during the Six Nations campaign. But I think the next 12 months is about the Welsh team, and for us to have the best possible chance of preparing and performing well in the World Cup. And so hopefully there's a little bit more give on their behalf to enable them to do that, and for us to do as well as we can.
Now on Sunday, Wales faced their second game of the Alitalia European Cup, a tournament which could see them return to the top table of league superpowers, joining the likes of England, New Zealand and Australia. Lisa Rogers went along to see how they got on.
Inside this hotel, the Wales Rugby League team are going through their final preparations before meeting Ireland at the Knoll in the Alitalia European Cup.
Now, as a group of staff, I want to wish you all the best of luck today, and I really hope you go out there and perform as we know you can. Let's get on the bus, let's get down to Neath and do a job.
I mean, people look back to sort of 1995 and see those as a sort of golden year. Yeah. Do you think we're close to that again, or how different is it to that?
It's a lot different, totally different. I mean, then we had a ready-made side with lots of ex-Welsh internationals, but a mixture of sort of northern players as well, and it was an experienced side.
In '95 we just had the Welsh team, but now we've actually got I think it's 165 schools playing rugby league in Wales at the moment now, and one of the things we pride ourselves on is that we think we are actually the fastest growing sport in Wales.
Lloyd White at dummy half for Wales, to Breers, looking for Lennon. Great score by Mark Lennon, first try for Wales. Nelly Manover on the far side for Ireland, it's Tim Berg in the wing, Ireland strike back. Ryan Boyle into Finnegan. Finnegan's found a gap. Can he find support? He's got it from Matthew Fox. Out to the fullback, McNally, unopposed, and Ireland extend the lead. Breers. Gareth Thomas. Lennon, clear, squeezes in the corner. Second try for the Cronulla Sharks wing. Danny Jones, that's easy for Webster. Through he goes, unopposed, Ian Webster.
That's more like it. So with their third try converted, Wales are back in the driving seat, ready for the second half.
Ireland on the attack straight away in this second half. Griggs to Finnegan. Beats a couple of tackles. Can he get the pass in? It's picked up by Ryan Boyle, who just flops over the line for Ireland. Lloyd White breaks the first tackle. Good running by White. He's got Rhys Williams outside him, and the win finishes off with a plum for Wales. Rhys Williams. Ambler takes route one, and Ambler ambles over for another try for Ireland. Breers getting Wales going again. White with a pass to Christian Rowetts, rolls out of the tackle. Wales on the board again. Gareth Thomas drifting on an angle almost up to the line. Here's men over for Wales. Danny Jones. Williams again for his second try. Rhys Williams. Breers with a drop goal, and that's successful, and it puts Wales 2 scores ahead. Ireland not giving up though, putting Wales under pressure as we approach the end. Here's Greg McNally. Ireland are not out of it yet. But Wales must hold possession and position for these last few seconds. There goes the hooter, and Wales have won a thriller at the Knoll.
I think I've aged about 80 years during that game. It could not have been closer. Just 1 point in it at the end. Is it great having a Wales shirt back on?
Oh, it's the best feeling. I'm really proud to play for Wales. It's one of my highlights of my career, and hopefully we can go out on a bang next week.
Winning by 1 point and working for each other. When you go in the changing rooms, boys look at each other in the eyes and know that we've worked for each other. And we go to France next week for a tough encounter. And I'd rather go there on the back of a hard-fought victory than going there with a kind of stroll in the park.
Any French side, you know, whatever sport you're playing, you know they're going to be physical and they're going to be big and athletic, and you know you're going to have to deal with that threat. They will have deficiencies, and we've got to try and find them and try and get our game as clinical as we possibly can. And if we can do that, and you know the bounce of the ball goes our way, then there's no reason why we can't be 3 from 3.
And Lisa will be in France next week for Wales's final game in the Alitalia Cup. Well, Chris Coleman, as you can see, is here. Chris, great to see you again. You told us a few weeks ago you were interested in the Wales job. My first question is, have you applied?
Yes, I have. Yesterday, I finishing touches to my CV, if you like, and I've sent off. So, officially, yeah, I have applied.
So you want it?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Where have Wales gone wrong, Chris?
Oh, I think, you know, this is obviously with the upheaval of John obviously walking away, and then Brian's had it for 2 games. I think, you know, the last 2 results were not the results that we were looking for. And it was, you know, it's never easy to go into a job like that and a team like that that's lacking in confidence, lacking in quality, because a lot of players are missing. So it was always going to be difficult for Brian. But I think first and foremost, we've got to get our best players on the pitch on a consistent basis. When we do that, that's when we get the results, that's when we get the supporters back, and that's when we get a positive feeling again.
When you watched those last Euro 2012 qualifiers, Chris, what did you see in that squad, in the performance?
We played some lovely football. There were some positives, there was, but it just looked like we're not hard to beat. We lack an edge. I don't just mean a cutting edge, you know, in scoring goals. I mean all over the pitch, where you've got to have a mentality. If we can't win this, then we're not getting beat, and we're certainly not going to give away silly goals. And that's not just the defenders. I mean, that's right through the pitch. You know, in midfield, we're sometimes we're too easy to beat, whether we get beat on a 1-2, and then our defence, our last line of defenders, if you like, or we don't stop crosses, or we're not marking properly in the box. All the little things, but they're fundamental things.
You've seen the squad. Have you got enough to turn it around, Chris, if you were given the job?
There's a lot of players who are more than capable of doing very well at international level.
What about those players, Chris, who are on the sidelines, not injured, but they've, for one reason or another, made themselves unavailable for Wales? They've retired. To many fans, they've retired too early. Would they be on your radar?
The obvious one is Ryan Giggs. You know, players like Ryan, they don't fall off trees, we know that. He's a special player. So for me, I'd say if I did get the Welsh job, I would. I'd see Ryan Giggs playing a part. I'm not saying necessarily on the pitch, but I would see him playing a part, because one day, whenever he's ready, if he wants to, he's going to go into management, whether that's for Wales or a domestic level first, I don't know. So I think Wales could be good for Ryan in a different type of role, not necessarily on the pitch, and I think Ryan could be good for Wales. But I prefer to think longer term. I say, right, with these remaining games, let's get, like I said, get all our best players together if we can, and give them the experience, and some of the younger ones a bit more experience, so then in the next championships games, the world qualifiers, they're a little bit more experienced and a little bit better prepared, if we need to call them.
OK, Chris, for the moment, thank you very much indeed. We'll talk more in a second. Right, let's bring you some football now, and with just over 2 weeks to go before the first South Wales derby of the season, Cardiff City and Swansea City are both looking good.
I'm Doris de Vries, goalkeeper Swansea City, and my favourite track at the moment is Helter Skelter from Shapeshifters, just because it sounds real easy on the air, and it's a great track, keeps me dancing.
It was an early kick-off at the Cardiff City Stadium, and it looked like the City defence hadn't got the sleep out of their eyes. 2 down inside the first 10 minutes.
Across, going to second goal. It's John Stead. Bothroyd is onside.
But then came the fight back, thanks to Jay Bothroyd.
A goal for Cardiff City.
And on his 200th career start, last season's top scorer Peter Whittingham finished the job with 2 free kicks.
Oh, wonderful goal!
He's done Watford, and it was another trip to a former club for Brendan Rodgers, back to Reading this time. And Scott Sinclair was once again white hot with his 5th goal in 6 games. The former Chelsea man coolly slotting home after David Cotterill's neat pass. Congratulations to Robbie Savage, scoring on his 600th career appearance for Derby County. Cardiff City were hoping leaders Queen's Park Rangers would slip up at the Liberty Stadium, and the Swans had a great chance to beat them, but David Cotterill missed from the spot. More penalty drama at the Ricoh Arena. Peter Whittingham had missed his last 2 penalties. No mistake at Coventry City, though.
Whittingham steps up, sends the goalkeeper the wrong way. Cardiff have the lead.
Gary McSheffrey thought he'd got a point for the Sky Blues. Before that man, Bothroyd, popped up with a class finish.
Pull it back too. It's a goal for Cardiff City. It's Jay Bothroyd.
What about your former club, Swansea City? 2 good results away from home, and then they could have beaten the leaders.
Yeah, they could have. QPR strong this season. It was a good point for Swansea, and they're doing very well again this season. The same style of play. I think they're maybe more offensive in that 4-3-3 formation they play. I think they more often than not now they send the fullbacks forward, and maybe last season they didn't so much, but they're playing excellent football again.
And Scott Sinclair, what a player.
Yeah, I remember Scott as a young kid at Chelsea, 15, 16, 17, and he looked very, very, very exciting. He seems to have found his home in Swansea, and he's doing a great job. He's got 4 or 5 goals. He's very exciting, he's very creative, and he's doing a terrific job down there.
Chris, Cardiff City, 2 wins out of 2. Big results.
Yeah, I think as well, they had the international break, and then the first game back was at home against Bristol City, were bottom. Cardiff been absolutely flying, 2nd in the league. And 2-0 down after 10 or 15 minutes. And you're thinking, maybe they've taken their foot off the pedal for this one. But no, I think to come back and win 3-2, and in the fashion in which they did it, I think that's a signal to everybody. Their intent this season, they've got a good possibility of finishing top 2, and again without putting pressure on Dave. No, they're doing the business again.
He talked there about playing some breathtaking football. Now, if you're a club manager and you've got the choice of Jay Bothroyd, Craig Bellamy, Peter Whittingham, Michael Chopra, Chris Burke, I mean, that's a great position to be in, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And good thing, I think they've never arrived at the club with those players available. He's attracted that type of play. I think you just talk about Jay Bothroyd. There's a lot being said about Jay. And Dave took a chance with him, and because a lot of clubs were thinking, no disrespect to Jay, but You know, he'd been an Arsenal player, Blackburn, and hadn't quite worked out. There was 1 or 2 question marks over his mentality, and he's answered all the questions, because certainly at championship level, there's no better striker in that league. Powerful, strong, quick, can score goals.
Chris, as ever, great to see you. Thank you very much indeed. So we've just cheered all about him. His manager thinks he could do a job for Fabio Capello. So is Jay Bothroyd England's missing link?
I just want to press it. Oh!
Really? Sorry to interrupt, but the gaffer wants a word with you.
What does he?
Yeah.
All right, gaffer. Gaffer, at golf, I'm Michael Jackson and you're Tito. Remember that? It's all right then.
Dave Jones thinks you're his caddy.
No. We played golf one time. He drops balls out of his legs. He's the biggest chip I've ever met.
Clearly get on well with him though, that's good.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
No!
Under pressure.
I am seriously under pressure. Go on, go. Oh dear.
Terrific.
Oh. And how are you getting on with Bellas? Because he's the kind of famous new addition, isn't he?
Yeah, Bellas, I've known Bellas since I was at Coventry with him. He's at the peak of his career, and he comes to the club and you wouldn't think it, he just acts like one of the boys. It's great to have him here.
Yeah.
He passes on vast experience to, myself and all the boys around the place. There you go.
Yay.
There you go.
I can do it, I can. Oh! Should we go and have a cup of coffee and a chat around the corner?
Okay, come on then.
So you and Bellas were both at Coventry together, went back there.
Yeah.
And won, which is always good.
Yeah.
And what sort of reception did the two of you get from the fans there?
Every time I touched the ball, Bellas, he was getting booed. So obviously you're aware of it because you can hear it. So when I scored in the 87th minute, it was just like icing on the cake. You can hear a pin drop.
It must be great though, going back to teams that you used to play for and winning. That's got to be a great feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose you always want to go back there and prove yourself wrong, especially in my case, because I wasn't focused as much as I should have been. And I kind of took it for granted what I had when I was younger, but I've grown up now, I've matured a lot. I just want to be playing well for my teammates. If my manager's happy with me, then I'm happy.
Oh, your manager's over the moon with you. He wants Fabio Capello to come and pick you for England.
Yeah, when I see that in the newspaper, I was amazed really. That he showed that much belief in me and said it. But all I can do is keep enjoying my football. See what happens.
I mean, Cardiff was so close to promotion the last year. Just missed out on the playoffs 2 years ago. So third time lucky.
We definitely got the players for it. We've got a great squad now, really strong. Everyone's competing for a place. Week in, week out. The boys are not playing, are chomping at their bits to get the shirt. So we're all on our toes. If we can get to the Premiership, everyone wants to be there. That's the place to be.
Jay, lovely to talk to you. Thank you very much.
Nice speaking to you. Thank you.
Lisa Rogers there with Jay Bothroyd, and you can keep right up to date with all the Championship news on BBC Wales Television, radio and online. The weekend's Magners League action starts tonight at 8 here on BBC Two Wales. Cardiff City play on Monday night, so it's all eyes on the Liberty in the Championship. The Swans taking on Sven's Leicester City tomorrow. Highlights of that game in the Football League show, that's after Match of the Day. And a full roundup of the weekend's rugby in Scrum 5, that's on Sunday. So, plenty to look forward to. Well, Cardiff City are living the high life, and so is one of their former players, the Wales midfielder Joe Ledley, making a name for himself in Scotland after his summer move to Celtic. And it's one of the biggest games he'll ever play in this weekend, the Old Firm Derby, and the chance to go down in history.
Celtic Park in Glasgow. It's all quiet at the moment, but come Sunday, it'll be no place for the faint-hearted. There'll be 60,000 football fanatics. Passion at its most raw.
I think it's going to be, probably the best game and atmosphere I'm going to play in.
I think it's the biggest derby in the world. Any player, if you play for the Old Firm, if you do well in an Old Firm match, the fans will always remember that.
New club, new culture for Joe Ledley, a derby that for many goes beyond sport, where politics, religion are added to an emotional mix.
I was at Cardiff and Swansea, but that's a great atmosphere, especially being a local boy. You know, it was great, but I think Celtic and Rangers is going to be different, and you know, it's going to be more people. You know, it's 60,000. It's going to be a sellout. And you know, it's massive. You know, two clubs are doing really well.
Do you ever have any advice as someone who's played in loads of Old Firm derbies for players going into it for the first time?
Well, yes. I mean, you pass on your experiences, but it's very difficult to replicate the experience of actually going out there and playing in that atmosphere and the intensity of the game. It's a goldfish bowl as well in terms of you're instantly recognisable everywhere you go, and your performances with the Old Firm get analysed to death, basically.
The religious background to Rangers and Celtic has always been there. Both clubs sign whatever player they want. They don't look to see the religious background, but it's always been part of the history of Rangers and Celtic, and we just got on with it. You smile when you look at some of the things that's been said in the past. But
here, you know, it's either Celtic or Rangers. There's not really no one else. You might get a couple of fans supporting someone else, but you know, it's two big clubs in one city. If you're doing well, then you know they will praise you and they, you know, will love you. I think it's just in the genes at Celtic. You know, Hendrik Larsson, John Hartson, and you know Bellamy. You know they've all done well, and you know they all love him. You know, I spoke to John, and he loves coming back up here, and you know he's bought his book out and everything. So. You know, no, they will worship you, and you know, hopefully, you know, I can do well for the club and try and win the fans over.
He's one of the first names on the team sheet now. He's actually developing into a better player than what we first envisaged. Just little bits and pieces of his game that you see in training, and you never thought he had that in his makeup. And obviously, with playing with the players here, that'll bring his game on more. I mean, he's only 24, so he's got a lot of good years in front of him. And he started the season very well. I think he's won a lot of the majority of the fans over.
Style and you know the club, you know they're doing well. I'm doing well. You know I've won every game so far. I think I just needed a new challenge. You know I was at Cardiff all my career and you know, I had a great time there. You know, but the fans are great to me and. I had a lot of stick there, and you know to prove them wrong was a great honour. But you know to score in this derby would be the icing on the cake throughout my career.
I think there's added space to it this year because both teams have 100% records going into it. So you know something's got to give on either side really. And it's important for us to set down a marker for the season, and you know with home advantage we need to make the most of that.
If Joe can stick one in from 25 yards, top corner, 3-2 Celtic, a hero for all time.
If you are what you say you are.
Joe Ledley talking to Ian Hunt. Now, if you know someone who helps others participate in sport, why not nominate them for BBC Sport's Unsung Hero Award? You have until the 29th of October to get your nominations in. Go to our website for further information. That's it for tonight. In the week, Wales lost one of its 1958 World Cup heroes. From all of us here, more Star.